So episode 2 was a lot better, in my opinion. Wow, that was really good, honestly. Reminder, I liked episode 1, but wow, yeah, episode 2 is really good. For starters, a quick thing, the opening and ending themes have grown on me a lot more, and part of that's because they actually got officially released really quickly, so I've been listening to them a lot, and that definitely helps. But yeah, they're really good, so that made everything even better in that vein. But I want to talk about that because this time I was paying more attention to the opening sequence of the show, and I've got thoughts already. The big things being, before I begin, a few corrections. Last time I was calling her Yui. It is just Ui. It is just UI, and I wasn't sure pronunciation. I didn't check, and that's on me. It is Ui, and that's her dad, not her uncle. I don't know why I thought it was uncle. I don't know if I read that like once or if my mind jumped there. I might have been crossing wires with Zio. Regardless, their stuff in the opening is really interesting. Why does he fade away all mysterious like? Like, he gets jokey bits too, but he's doing things and they're mysterious, and he's up to something. Something's happening with him, and I do not know what. And then right after that, when we have the villains, because like their glamour shot comes next, and it's Kureon. They write it Creon. It is pronounced like Kureon. I don't know if one is correct or not. I guess creation or something. Creon makes sense. But Mushroom Person, they're the only villain really shown off in the opening. Like, Tank Joe's not doing much. So, I already said I don't think Tank Joe's our main villain, but is Creon the main villain? Or is Creon at least, like, gonna be the only one that sticks around? I'm very curious. That had gears turning in my head already. So that's interesting. As far as the actual episode goes, plot-wise, it was an establishment of what's probably going to be our formula for a little while, which is we are going to seemingly have a victim of the week. The Minosaurs are now shown to be made from people, from negative emotions, so very classic Sentai, in the villains are gathering negative emotions for a reason or another. It's a little bit like O's in the way a Yummy was formed from desires. It's just a little vaguer here, but the monster is tied to a specific person, which is interesting to note. We had our fencer unicorn, so that's pretty common writer forze of you. But it was a nice establishment of the formula. We see that they just grow naturally through the gaining of energy. I thought Creon was going to be making my monster grow with the goop, but it just makes the monster, and then the growing happens naturally. So that's interesting. We get to hang out with our leads a little more. Some of their dialogue's a little exposition-y still. Melto early on, when they're walking down that path, is like, hey, so maybe you forgot from last week. Let me explain who the Druidon are. Just throw that out there. Maybe you missed it or forgot something. But I did like hanging out with them more. We got a little more personality. Ko and Asuna being playful was nice. Ko's a little bit dumb, still a little trepidatious here, but hopefully he will be an enjoyable dumb. I do like him so far. Seeing Melto get really jazzed about learning about dinosaurs was really neat. More personalities peeking through in general, and I like that. That makes me very happy. That makes me excited in general, just to see them get fleshed out, especially with Green and Black coming up next. So that, in general, made me happy to see. I also like the way that they're doing the Kishiryu, in that there is evidence of their existence from a paleontology standpoint. And I remember really early on at promotional material seeing those like scientific drawings of what looked like fake dinosaurs, and knowing that those are like a scientist rendering of a Kishiryu based on scant evidence is actually really cool, because I was like, is this show gonna make up dinosaurs? And no, in a sense, it's the scientists of this world guessing at what these robot dinosaurs look like, and I kind of like that little detail. We also have a lot of intrigue already, and a lot of this was at the end, but we saw, Creon with Ui, and that mysterious stuff happening. I assume that was her that Tank Joe and Creon turned to look at. I could be wrong, but that was interesting. Based on the next episode preview, she's probably just the victim of the week, though, because they're already talking about saving her and stuff. So I don't think it's a bigger conspiracy with her. However, her dad is very interesting. I am getting some vibes from him. I saw some people saying he might even be the guy who went to see Green and Black at the end. That's very possible. I'm not really betting one way or the other there, but on one hand, he seems like he could be like Daigo's dad from Kyoryuger, in that he's gonna have like all the secrets at the end and be more interconnected to everything than we realized. I'm also getting some Coffee Dad build vibes, and we know where that went, so I don't know. The opening doesn't make me hopeful, but who knows? But I'm interested. And personality-wise, also those two, we don't have a lot out of Dad yet, whose name I forget completely, if I'm being honest. He seems nice, neat. I'm more intrigued by some setup stuff than his character. Ui, I'm happy to report, is not super annoying, because that was a fear I had episode 1, and so far I like her. We will see if that continues. I hope it does. Time will tell, as next episode will be very interesting if she is the victim of the week. But yeah, I like what's been set up. It's all very basic plot stuff. It's just, hey, we're gonna make Minosaurs to kill humans and, you know, blah, 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 evil things, nothing specific, but I like the way it was executed. On that note, wow, the action got me a lot more this time. And you know, I think this time it felt better directed, because I kind of stand by the gimmick of using the souls for the armor powers is not inherently super interesting to me, in just that I feel like other shows with gimmicks have done similar things, and this is just kind of a new coat of paint. But the way everything was directed this time was really cool. The on-foot fight when everyone's at like civilian level, including the monster, felt really cool, and some of it was the slow motion. There were a lot of times where it would be fighting. They'd stop to do slow motion, and it wasn't always a big epic thing, but it was always a very key movement, and it had a good rhythm to it that I really enjoyed. It made the whole thing feel really cool. What was already, you know, a pretty well choreographed fight. I am surprised we haven't had more of those foot soldiers doing a ton yet. I hope we do. I have always said that I think the best action in Sentai often is the foot soldier fights, because everyone is the least inhibited by suits, because no one is like the monster in the big suit, and maybe we have to make concessions about how he's gonna fight to make him threatening without, you know, being kind of goofy because it can't move much. But it's been all pretty fluid and cool so far. And on that note, the stuff they did with the giant monster was so cool. And I don't just mean the mecha stuff. We'll get to that because that was great. But when they were fighting it while just being in ranger form, that was awesome. I want more of that. They hinted at it in the first episode, but knowing they're going to do that again, I really hope they keep that up, because that was so cool. That made the soul powers really interesting, because that was very creative, and that was just so interesting to watch. They were effective, which is a big thing too. It wasn't just like getting kicked around until the mecha showed up. I want more of that. And I'm sorry I'm talking probably really fast this time, but that was so exciting and so cool. And the mecha stuff was also really cool again. It was just Tiramigo, and technically I guess he is Kishiryu as long as he's humanoid, which is interesting. Again, the movement, so fast, so cool. The gun combat mixed in there felt really good. It didn't feel like they were relying on any sort of like cheap like range stuff to not move around. Like, it was all fluid and part of it. The modular stuff again was really cool. The finisher was a really cool one. It felt kind of unique for this kind of thing. It was still red, very red this time. I'm guessing they have to go find the other Kishiryu, since Tiramigo was at like a zoo. Also, hearing him just make like Tira noises was interesting, given that I assume he was the one talking to Ko in episode 1 when he got inside, but we'll see. But really good action. Again, I really do want everyone else to be incorporated. I'm hoping that there is a cockpit that accommodates more than one person. I've heard a little bit of people say like maybe it's just like one person is going to control the mech at a time, and I hope that's not the case, because I would really like everyone to do it together, because that can be good for a focus episode, but at the end of the day, when you're not doing maybe a character piece or you don't have a specific toy to sell, I'm worried it's just going to fall on Ko to be the guy controlling the robot most of the time. So I hope they spread that around nicely or have everyone in there. Also, speaking of that zoo Tiramigo was at, there is a shot in this episode where it's Ko and Ui running in front of some goats, and those goats are doing something that should not be in a children's show. Go back and look for that if you want. That might be making rounds. I don't know. A friend sent me the GIF. I wouldn't have noticed. He sent that before I saw the episode, but hey, that was fun. Yeah, I feel like I have less to say this time because I don't have to talk about the premiere of a show. It's just an episode. But yeah, I was really, really into this one. I like this one a lot more. It was really cool to see everyone in action together as a team. They're keeping up the action direction, and in my opinion, they got a little better. I feel like the action was almost better because it wasn't relying on like the pizzazz of being a premiere and showing off maybe what might be more of just the show's style. So that was really cool. Episode 3 looks cool. I like green and black, being that like, hi, we're green and black. Go away, you suck. I do hope that doesn't drag out. Like if they don't join by the end of that episode, I hope it feels right, because I still like it when the team is together. That's a basic thing I enjoy about these shows. So I hope that we can get there as quickly as possible, but have it feel natural. You know, there has to be a flow and a rhythm, and you know, other shows do it one way or the other, and it can get there. But I am excited. Yeah, I'm really jazzed about this. I think they're setting up some cool stuff. We now have like what's probably going to be our basic plot formula for a little while of just how Minosaurs are formed. So we probably are just waiting for the next like pin to drop of something serious. Whether that's going to be when Gold shows up or something before that, I don't know. I'm very curious to see, but I'm definitely more on board than episode 1. I was cool with episode 1, but I'm just getting more amped up now, and that makes me really happy. That's really all I got for episode 2. Really cool, really exciting. Ready for episode 3. Hope it keeps it up. So thank you for listening, and I will see you again for episode 3.